Hello everyone and welcome to OurVentura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. Our guest today on the program is Mr. Emilio Ramirez. He is the Director of Housing for the City of Oxnard here in Ventura County. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
So good to have you. We'd like to hear more about the housing department in Oxnard and what you and your staff are responsible for and all that you do for the folks there in Oxnard.
Well, thank you for that question. Housing department in Oxnard is broad.
Okay.
There is a lot of initiatives, a lot of programs that are running from the department, and for that matter, in partnership with the entire city.
Okay.
The county of Ventura, the neighboring cities, the business community, the school districts, the nonprofits. I think it's important that everybody be working together.
Yeah, so everybody kind of works hand in hand together.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right.
The housing department runs the housing authority,
Okay.
the Section 8 program, public housing programs.
Okay.
We run affordable housing programs for development, for first-time home buyers, for mortgage assistance, for single-family rehab assistance programs.
Okay.
We run the grants unit, which is the community development block grant, the home partnership foundation grant,
Okay.
the emergency solutions grant. We also run rent stabilization compliance ordinance and the inclusionary housing compliance ordinance, as well as the fair housing ordinance. And we have the homeless services programs within the housing department as well.
Right, which is a lot of responsibility for you.
Well, it's fun, but I'm only the director. I don't
You
actually
oversee a lot. Yeah.
I don't actually do any of the real work.
Okay.
The staff is there is amazing, and they do all the work, and they deserve all the credit. Yeah.
Right, good. The city of Oxnard, like so many cities in California, facing a housing shortage, as well as dealing with homelessness. We've got it in a lot of cities here in California, and you're one of them too here in Oxnard. Let's talk about what the city of Oxnard is doing for some of the homeless people.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure.
It is, yeah.
And I think that the response to it has to be global.
Okay.
It has to be varied, and it has to be consistent.
Okay.
So everything from homelessness that is based purely on economics, because a person simply cannot afford to live in Oxnard,
Okay.
because it's expensive, because
Right.
the vacancy rate is low, because the minimum wage is too low compared to cost, because all of those things, all the way down to a release from an institution, in the middle, mental health conditions, dual diagnosis, substance abuse,
Right.
suffering from domestic violence, suffering from foster youth. All of those things kind of contribute to it. And the diversity within that population is as big, if not greater, than the diversity amongst the general population.
Right.
And then one little thing does not work. Everything has to be
Right,
together.
it has to be a separate entity for each type of situation.
Has to be case managed,
Right.
and it has to be responsive to the need of the person.
Okay.
And it can't be an idea that I happen to have. This is what I think is going to work, but
Sure.
we have to understand the need of the person.
Right, which is good to know. That is very good. As the Director of Housing, you oversee many different facets of the housing department. What are just give us an idea of your day-to-day responsibilities that you have to oversee.
Well, actually, my day-to-day responsibilities is go to a lot of meetings and talk to a lot of
okay.
people. And it involves building relationships, building partnerships,
Okay.
Acknowledging that I'm, even if I try to do it by myself, I'm going to fail,
Okay.
and I need the help of everybody else.
Right.
Acknowledging, I think, acknowledging that while all of us do an amazing job, that none of us do a complete job.
Right.
And it involves really, really amazing partnership with the police department. The police department in Oxnard is amazing.
Okay.
The various departments, cultural, community services, all those things are amazing. The nonprofit sector, the business community need to be involved. That said, that's really part of what I do. But in that process, there is staff at the Housing Authority that
Good.
every single day run a tenant-based rental assistance program,
Okay.
and provide assistance to more than 1,600 people, 1,600 families in Oxnard.
That's very good.
And every single day being able to house or prevent homelessness, one person at a time.
Okay.
We have a homeless program that is run by an amazing group of people, and they serve to end homelessness one person at a time. I see it all the time. If I can brag a little bit about that team,
Yeah, sure.
I would love that. There's a person that works on the team. His name is Mark.
Okay.
His heart is amazing. He came to me. He says there's a homeless family, and they're impacting our employees at the Housing Authority because they're outside of the Housing Authority.
Okay.
And he wanted me to assist relative to the employees.
Okay.
I said, Mark, your job is the homeless person. That's what you're after. Go help them.
Okay.
I will handle securing the employees and the staff and the
Okay.
building and etc. But your job is the homeless person.
Right.
I think his kind of feeling that ability, that empowerment, it took him 4 weeks. It took him 4 weeks to find a job for the person, and an extra 2 weeks to find housing.
Okay.
It took him 6 weeks to stabilize the family. Jobs, employment. The kid, that was a 14-year-old kid that was there, rehoused with his family, reunified with his family.
Okay.
Okay? And yeah, maybe you think that 6-week process is too long a process, but it took 4 weeks. And after that month-and-a-half process, they were in such a better place.
Right. And that's what counts. You know, that's really what counts.
Absolutely. And yeah, they suffered for a long time, including those 4 or 6 weeks that
Right.
they were suffering.
Right.
And we could have done something faster, maybe.
But you don't want it to be a Band-Aid situation. You want it to work.
Exactly.
And
part of that process is their
takes
own
time.
right. Part of the process is their own desire, their
Okay.
own ambition.
that's true.
Part of the process is not, Mark, here's a key because
Right.
I think you need a place.
Okay.
Go live there and survive.
Okay.
Be happy. Part of
Yeah.
the process is understanding, learning that this 14-year-old kid actually has a mom who wants him to come back home in LA.
Yes.
Making a phone call, driving to LA, introducing them to each other. And I mean, part of the process is a global understanding of what they need. That took 6 weeks.
Right.
Which I think in a real respect, it was really 6 weeks worth of love
Right.
versus anything else.
And that's what counts, is that, you know, it turned out to be a good situation.
Absolutely.
Right.
Along the way, yes. Along the way, people come to work at 8 o'clock
Sure.
in the morning, and they're potentially impacted by a person that's sleeping outside.
Right. But that bothers a lot of us who see that. You know, we see it outside grocery stores, we see it on the parks, on the sidewalks. I think any normal person would be concerned about that.
Absolutely.
Right.
And they
And
have
should be. Yeah.
Exactly, they have a right to be so. And not only
Right.
that, but they invested their life earnings into their small business.
Right.
Into their home that they acquired. They love their own kids
Right.
and their own environment, and they should be worried. They should be
Okay.
concerned.
I want to talk about something. I know that you've recently been appointed to Governor Newsom's California Homelessness Coordination and Finance Council. What are some of the things you do on that? And what is that all about?
The Coordinating Financing Council is working to enact policy statewide
Okay.
that would change the delivery of homeless services statewide.
Oh, okay.
Centered around an environment of permanent supportive housing,
Okay.
where Housing First is a model that tries to deliver a place where homeless services can attach with more stability.
Okay.
Because we understand that homeless services is mostly about social work, about case management, about
Right.
counseling.
Okay.
But when that counseling is done in the street, at the park, it just takes longer. And we feel like
Okay.
if we add a housing or a shelter or permanency or stability or safety of that,
Sure.
there's a greater ability to attach.
Are we seeing more housing built for homeless and low income? Is there more housing that's going to be available in Oxnard?
Absolutely. I mean, we haven't started to build it yet because we're working on it. But yes, we have projects already underway. We're discussing every single day with developers. We're working on an idea to include Section 8 vouchers combined with the county of Ventura for supportive services. We're looking at every angle that we can think of in order to produce more permanent supportive housing.
What about veterans too?
Yeah, we have a challenge in an effort to be able to use the VASH vouchers in an effective way.
Sure.
And honestly, it's a challenge in every respect.
Right.
What I think is promising is that when I go talk to anybody in the community, in the area, at the county, at the city, and what I'm learning, having been in Oxnard since April, what I'm learning is that everybody wants to be at the table. Everybody wants to talk. When I go to the County Housing Authority, when I go to the County of Ventura Human Services Agency, how do we help? What can we do? How do we get together? Who do we talk to? What do I say? I mean, it's amazing the collaboration that occurs here. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge I think everybody's up for.
It's a good challenge, I think, and especially when you have teamwork and everybody works together, this is something that gets things done.
Yes, plus, acknowledging that fighting the good fight is a log-flying fight.
Right.
It's not going to be something that we're going to, work ourselves out of a job in 3 years.
Sure.
I mean, I would love that. If that happened, I would be so happy. But we have to be committed to this long-term thing.
Right. Is there money being allocated, more money being allocated for homelessness and getting people more housing and into shelters?
There is.
Okay.
And there is sources of money for counseling. There's sources of money for production.
Okay.
Yes. And I think more importantly, there is a change in a will. Maybe out of necessity, but there is definitely a change in the will amongst not just the funding sources that come from the state and from HUD and locally and from the general fund or wherever it comes from, but also a change in the will from the local electeds and the local community that where at one time it was, yes, build and help the homeless, but go help them over there. Now it's an acknowledgement that their homeless are here and they need help here, so let's all get together and let's figure this out. That change in conversation is new. I've been in this field for 25 years and it's just amazing change.
Yeah. So, what were some of the things you want to do in your new position as the housing director? What would you like to change?
Oh, God.
Now that you're in this position, you now can look forward to the future and making some changes here in Oxnard.
I think a pursuit of a global poverty alleviation program that is about business growth, job creation, wage development. I have a theory, I have an idea that I would love to pursue one day. I call it neighborhood wellness, where I believe a person's income is not necessarily, or a person's wealth is not necessarily based on their income, but based on their comfort of living and their surroundings. And I believe that we have a obligation to invest in our neighborhoods, and that means homelessness, affordable housing, job creation. It means finding that 12-year-old kid in the neighborhood who has the talent and investing in that kid. We know that there is a Bill Gates in Oxnard, and we have to find him, and we have to invest in him.
That's very important. That's very important.
I would love to do that. I would love to get to the point that, we're after this global change. Admittedly, every single day we come to work and let's work on building this house or housing this person or whatever, and that's important. But I would love to get to the point of a global attack on neighborhood wellness.
Great. So. Terrific. Well, thank you, Emilio Ramirez. You are the Director of Housing for the City of Oxnard. In your new position, I wish you all the success and hope lots of good changes will come in Oxnard.
Thank you.
With you at the helm. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for joining us on OurVentura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.